Welcome in, everybody, to Grind Time, powered by Full Time Fantasy in the FFWC. I'm your host, Billy Muzio, and today I have Evangelos Lilas with me. He is a high-stakes player at the FFWC. We are continuing now episode 2 of Meet the Players. And Angelo's been playing for about 14 years in the high-stakes community. His noteworthy wins include 2014 AFFL champion, 2016 FFWC online champion, which is now known as the Player Profiler Champion. He has multiple top 10 finishes in the NFFC, as well as multiple Dominator finishes in the World Championship here at FFWC, which includes a top 12 finish overall. Total career earnings roughly around $200,000 in high stakes football. And for those of you who don't know what the Dominator is a prize at the FFWC that is awarded to a player who has the best record and the most points inside their league. It is a very tough achievement to obtain. So congratulations on multiple Dominator finishes. Angelo, welcome to the show, buddy. How are you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
Always a blast to have players on. Kind of just get to know you a little bit better, to see, kind of put a face to the name in the draft room, number one. Number two, just to kind of get a feel for you as a player, why you like playing at the FFWC, a little bit more about your background. So let's just jump into it. Where are you from originally? Where do you live now?
I live in Lamont. I grew up right around Chicago, right outside the city limits. So, South Side, born and bred. So love it here. A lot of issues, but it's still home. So no complaints.
And what is your day job?
I actually own a restaurant, fast food. I'm right by Midway. So if you're ever by Midway, look up Nikki's Hot Dogs. I'll take care of you, maybe. But stop on in. We family-owned business for 55 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're, no complaints.
Are you second generation now at the business?
Pretty much, yeah. Oh, yeah. My dad's in Greece right now. He's been out there for almost 2 months.
Oh, wow.
So he's
nice.
taking it easy.
So you sell hot dogs. What else do you sell?
Everything, dude. We got beef, burgers, gyros, combo sandwiches, chili cheese dogs, pizza puffs, you name it, Polish, all the good stuff, all the good fattening Chicago food. You know what I'm saying? We come in, we'll get you fat, no problem.
That's awesome.
Big bag of fries and a Coke to wash it down. You're all good.
So owning a business, do you think there's any transferable skills that you brought with you from the business world into the fantasy football world?
I don't know. For what I do, maybe the numbers, but other than that, not really. You know what I'm saying? So, maybe managing people, managing teams, there could be some correlation there, but.
How about hobbies outside of work? Because we know that business owners like ourselves are kind of dedicated to our businesses, but outside.
Football's really my hobby, man. I'm 24/7 football, man. I give a little time to my kids and my wife. They would like a little more, but even when, once football's over, I decompress for about a month or so, and then I'm back on it. I'm looking at stuff. I'm reading things. I'm looking at the rookie drafts, getting ready for Dynasty. Play a little Madden 22, Madden 23 now coming up, just to get more player knowledge, because believe it or not, that gives you player knowledge you didn't even realize you didn't know, as far as even defensively, you know what I'm saying, for guys and different things like that,
So it's funny you mentioned that. So I heard an analyst say on a podcast about maybe a couple of weeks ago that he actually takes into consideration the Madden rankings inside of his. So do you take into consideration Madden rankings when you're doing player evaluations?
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't go that far, but. No, I wouldn't do that because some of their rankings are ridiculous. So that's No, I love playing the game, but I won't go to that extent.
So outside football, any other hobby? I mean, food. Be private passion for food.
Not much, man. I'm a pretty lame. Not to say lame, pretty tame guy. I'm easygoing. I try to keep my life simple. So I try to whatever. I got my kids. I got football, I got my store, keeps me busy enough as it is. So usually I'm exhausted by the time I get home anyways. The only thing I'm looking for is a midnight draft and go to bed.
So you said your dad's in Greece. Do you go to Greece often yourself? Or?
I used to, not as much as I used to. You know what I'm saying? Last time I went was about 6 years ago and stuff. Okay. But actually the last time I went was what I really realized, that little patch of dirt is where I'm from. Because, it is. It's we're up in the mountains. We're closer to the Italy side. You can see the Aeonian from my dad's balcony. But the thing is, when I went to the cemetery to see my grandma, my grandpa's there, my great-grandma, my great-grandpa, uncles, family members that have been there for generations.
The roots.
The roots, yeah. And I never took that in when I was younger. I finally understood it when I went there when I was older. So it was kind of cool to take that in, you know.
Yeah, I have still yet to go to Sicily. It's where my
You
dad's
should
side of
go,
the family's
man. You
from.
should go. You gotta,
It's on my bucket list.
Gotta go to the homeland at least once.
Yeah,
You know?
it's on my bucket list, but not with kids in the near future, at least. You know,
Yeah, well,
traveling.
that's why we didn't go this year because like mine are 10-6 and just turned 4. It's a 17-hour haul. Plane ride to cab ride. To
F that with that many young kids.
Yeah, so I was like, let's wait another year.
Yeah, maybe 2.
So, yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully next year we hit it up. So.
All right, well, let's hop into football. So you said you've been playing about 14 years.
Yeah.
All of that high stakes, or when did you jump into high stakes?
You know what? High stakes is the only thing I've ever known. Believe it or not, I actually.
Anyway, interesting.
Here's how it started for me. Me and my girlfriend, now my wife, we bought a house, and then internet. That was when Facebook just started popping, and people were posting lineups, and I'm like, and I love football. Don't get me wrong. And I was like, what is this fantasy stuff? And I called up a buddy. He explained it to me. He's like, check out this site. That was the AFFL. My first team I ever drafted sucked. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I ain't kidding. My very first pick was Steve Slade. So that tells you right there. That was the second year after his like big year, I think his rookie year or whatever it was, first or second year in the league. And then, back then you didn't have all this computer stuff. You had magazines. That's what I was kind of going off of. So, yeah, it was a bad team, but I got addicted to the draft. I loved constructing teams. And once I got it down and I understood the art of it, then it became a passion. You know what I'm saying? I ended up going from drafting one team to drafting, I think, 12 that year. So I had about $1,000 invested. That was the money I put into it. I'm way past that now, but it's because I've built my bankroll through the years. You know what I'm saying?
So let's talk about building bankroll. So you started with $1,000, and this is impromptu. We haven't had any discussion in regards to this. We're still on the show sheet still, but it's an interesting discussion. I like to hear how people built their bankroll. So you started with 1,000.
Yeah.
Your first year, how much did you roughly? I mean, this is top of your head. How much did you roughly win, and then how much did you roll over?
Well, my first year, believe it or not, I had beginner's luck. I ended up winning like about 4,000 or 5,000 my first year, which is not bad. I actually had a top 5 finish in the overall.
I mean, 4X is good
believe
though.
It or not, yeah. So, and then the second year, actually, I didn't have a winning season. I actually lost a little bit of money, but I just missed winning huge money. You know what I'm saying? It was just one of those injury years for me.
It's one of those addictions. When you get addicted, it's like I just missed it, but I was there.
But then slowly I was starting to win more consistently. And the thing was, like I started figuring out there's no point to cash out this money because now I'm just paying taxes for nothing. And I'm just putting it back in. So now I just roll it over. I have my cash out points. So to me, I'm going to play so much money every year now. So there's no point for me to take out the money. I just leave it in. And slowly, I mean, I play, 4 different sites. I've built up my bankroll over 4 different sites. You know what I'm saying? So any given year, I may have more money here than there. But overall, by the end of the draft season, I'm gonna, I'll be between 60 and 100 teams. You know what I'm saying? So that and everything's high stakes. Nothing. I don't play no cheapos. Everything's a $300 and up range.
And what's your everyone has a limit. I think I found my limit last year in season-long managed leagues. I'm not talking best ball. So season-long managed leagues is 60-year limit. There's a point to where it drives us insane on Tuesdays when we're doing waiver wires.
Last year, I ended up drafting a little over 120 teams. The first time I did that. And you know what? I didn't like it. I felt like it took away, I left myself short on other teams by having so many. Because literally, I would be up Tuesday. I'd get home from work Tuesday night, 8:30, and I'd be up till 4 or 5 in the morning going over waivers. And then I would go to work, come home at 4, go over waivers again before the deadline at 9 o'clock or whatever time that it's set. It was just nonstop, and I just feel like I was so mentally drained by the end of the season that, I didn't pick up a guy here that I needed, or I started the wrong guy here because I wasn't paying attention. You know what I'm saying? So this year, what I decided to do is instead of investing so much into so many teams, I'm going to go lesser, but I'm actually going to go into the higher stakes and put more into that and just try to focus on 60, 70 squads. You know what I'm saying? That's
absolutely.
It's a lot easier. I can manage that, no problem.
Yeah, I cut out 50 dynasty leagues, and I feel like this weight is off my back.
I'm good.
yeah. It was, and most of the dynasty leagues I was in were like friends and family. It wasn't a bunch of high stakes leagues. Those were, a couple $100 buy-ins each.
Mine are in the FFWC. People actually, I love their dynasty format.
Yeah, and you get the
That 10 grand overall prize,
yeah, it's the tournament for Dynasty, which is
I don't know.
amazing.
I got one that might be nibbling this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's such a cool concept. Like
Oh yeah,
I got to add a couple just to have a shot at that
yeah,
because I love Dynasty as it is, but to be able
sure,
to like just to win your league prize is great, but to have the
yeah.
chance at an
Oh
overall
yeah,
while you're
that's
playing
what makes it
Dynasty.
great. See, that's why I never. That's why I don't like the friends leagues, and I've
Hmm.
always been more into the high stakes because of that overall prize at the end. It's not so much of the money. I mean, the money's great. Don't get me wrong.
It's the thrill.
It's winning it. It's winning it. It's
Yeah.
being top dog, beating everybody. Come on, dude. We're guys. Or we want to win this shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't want to finish second to you. I want to beat you.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's how
all
I feel.
it's also just the sweat, right? Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you're sitting there on the final week. It's week
Oh,
17. You're
listen.
staring at your television. You got, a difference. You could win anywhere from, 70 grand to 200 grand or plus, right? And you're just sweating
Listen.
each play.
2014 when I won FFWC, trust me, when I watched that final Monday night game, and the person chasing me still had a shot, you know what I'm saying, of potentially catching me. It didn't happen, but still, I'm watching that game. My heart's pounding. I'm like, I'm intently watching this thing. And then again, in 2 years ago, when I was sitting in first in another contest, and like I swear to God, I had to leave my house. I had to walk out and get air because I was just like through the roof. Because I mean, you're in first, you got all that money, the prestige, everything that comes with it, and then whatever. I fell short, but yeah, no, but the rush is like nothing else.
Oh, yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
Love the rush, love the sweat, love
That's
love
why you do it.
the.
You chase
That's
it.
why a lot of us do it.
Chasing, man.
So, how long? So 14 years. How long have you been playing just at the FFWC?
When did I start that? I think I started playing about 3 years. I got to be close to 8, 9, 10 years.
Oh wow.
I think,
Okay.
yeah, I
Good
think
amount
it
of
was
time.
2014, maybe 8 years, 9 years now. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And I drafted maybe 4 or 5 teams at that time because the thing is, I had to learn the league too. The
Hmm.
thing is, that's the mistake people make going into a league. They don't read the rules or
Oh
don't
yeah.
understand its
It's the
format.
number one thing.
And, yeah, and they try to draft it like a home league, and you'll just get destroyed. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta learn the process, man. You gotta take some beatings sometimes. And then, like I said, obviously I came through it. I won the thing in 2016. So,
Nice. Congratulations on the win. I think you hit the hammer on the nail. You talk about knowing your league settings and your lineups, and it sounds so simple,
simple, right?
but people overlook it so many
Yes.
times. Like,
Yes.
especially when you see other high stakes players come from other sites over to here, and they overlook the fact that you're starting 3 wide receivers and you have 2 flex spots,
Right.
and they go, tight end heavy or they go running back heavy, and
Right.
they're pretty much out of the hunt from their poor roster construction. So
You have to know your league. You have to know your league.
absolutely. So very good point to make for the listeners who are tuning in, especially those who are looking to dip their toes in the high stakes community. So you said you're a football diehard. It's your main hobby. How many hours a week would you say you dedicate right
All
now
day,
to?
man. All day. All day. I'm constantly looking at Twitter. I'm looking at player news. I'm looking at anything I could make sure that I don't miss anything. Like today, the Tim Patrick stuff. I was like, what's funny is, fortunately, I only got 2 shares of it. So, it's not going to hurt me. But yeah, I'm like, I just drafted him yesterday too. I was like, damn it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, I mean, you just got to keep scouring, because if you miss something, you go into a draft and all of a sudden you're like, why is this guy sitting here? And you take him, and then you find out later, oh yeah, he tore his ACL. Oh
Yep.
crap. You just wasted a whole pick for nothing.
So how much of that time are you say is between reading news and keeping up with updates, and how much of that is film related? Do you do your own projections or rankings or tiers?
I have my internal things that I do.
Mhm.
I try not to bog myself down with like what you do. Congrats on what you did too. That's awesome, being number
Thank
one
you.
draft picker last year, or whatever you want to call that.
I like that title better, draft guy. That's awesome.
And what's funny is you were just on the show last week with Snake, and he was just poo-pooing it completely. The next day you're voted number 1, and it's like, I don't know. I just felt really ironic. But anyways, yeah, no, I have my own internal things I do. I try not to bog myself down with making lists and doing this and doing that. I have a way of drafting. Maybe, I know some people like to attack a draft with, this is my guys, this is who I got to grab. I don't do that. I go into the draft, I see what the draft is giving me, and I create as it comes along. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to go in dead set. I'm taking receivers.
No, you're being malleable.
Yeah, you have to adjust with the flow, because sometimes things are going to happen that you weren't expecting, so you have to adjust to that. So basically, I've been playing this long enough where I could look at anybody's list and then pretty much jumble it up to where I think it should be, and I go from there. You know what I'm saying? So like I can look at your rankings and maybe I'll agree with most of it, but maybe there'll be a couple guys where I'll move them up a couple slots. You know what I'm saying? And say, okay, I would still prefer this guy over that guy, and that's how I'll draft. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in between guys, that's different.
So that's the funny thing is everyone always asks for rankings, and there's a big difference between rankings and projections and then compared to a draft sheet, right? Where I may take somebody versus my rankings may be completely different because one, why the hell? And a great example that I always use is last year Deebo Samuel. Right. Had him ranked ahead of Ayuk, but why the hell would I ever take Brandon Ayuk, or I should say Deebo, where Ayuk was being drafted? It would make no sense. You're getting 4 rounds of discount on him.
It's all about the value too. You got to
so it's making sure that you can get that value as well as understanding the draft room that you're in, or the structure of the league that you're in. Right. But I agree, in terms of where you should be taking people. Rankings and draft sheets are completely two different things. So make sure people know that.
See, the one thing too when I draft, I try. I mean, I'm not solely focusing on just trying to win leagues. I'm trying to get as many teams into the playoffs as possible, whether it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 seed, however it gets in. Because at the end of the day, when that stretch starts, guess what? We're just starting with our averages. So you could literally be 12 points behind a guy that was 200 points ahead of you, or however that averages out. So now when the first week of the run starts and you blow up for 200 and you're sitting first, second, or third all of a sudden, guess what? Boom, there you are. The team that won in 2016, you know what that team averaged for the year? It averaged 147. That's low for FFWC. But I had the wins and I got in. And then guess what happened when the stretch run started?
You got hot when it mattered.
I was averaging 200 points a week. Yeah. And believe it or not, I left 50 points on the bench from Thielen when he blew up against the Packers.
And everyone, that's when I talk about understanding the shootout schedule and understanding teams' matchups. That's the importance of the shootout schedule.
Sure.
Angelo just hit it, hammer on the nail. It doesn't matter if you got in, you got in. Mm-hmm. What does that shootout schedule look like? Like, for instance, last year, Tom Brady, fucked a lot of people because during that shootout schedule, he got shut out. And if you get shut out in a shootout, you're done. And
that's so important as the regular season. It is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you gotta have the right combination of guys that are gonna put you over the top. And that's the thing with the way I draft is I'm trying to find that key. I'm trying to find that set of players. That's why I don't hone in on just one set of guys and try to draft that squad everywhere. I try to create different squads to see which one might be that magic key. That wins you that 6 figures, gives you that top spot.
Yeah, very good point. I'm glad you brought up the shootout schedule because it is as important as the regular schedule as long as you can get to the shootout first and foremost.
That's our Super Bowl, man. That's our Super Bowl stretch, man. That's what we play for.
It really is. So one more question, FFWC related, and then we'll dip into more game philosophy and draft philosophy. But what is the reason why you've been here now 8-9 years playing FFWC? What brings you back?
Oh, I love the format. I love the format. It's great. The software is phenomenal. Love the software. Probably, honestly, I think it's probably the best software from anywhere as far as dealing with free agency, drafts itself. Maybe I missed the old mock draft central where guys were jumbled up and everybody was in the 700s. So not everything was all ADP'd now like it is. So It was funner to draft back then because you could steal guys left and right without anybody realizing it. But they have, plus, dealing with Scott's gotten to know me from playing for so many years. I text him, he texts me right back. Anything I need, no matter what. The Discord now, same thing. You ask Roy anything, he's right there. What I'm saying?
Roy's amazing.
But I like the contest. It's more intimate. The thing is, there's a lot of big contests. But at the end of the day, if you get into that final stretch, do you want to face 5,000 people or do you want to face maybe 600? See what I'm saying? Even though the money's a little bigger on this side, where do you have the better chance of actually winning money? It's over here on FFWC where you're only facing a quarter of the competition, but it's good competition. That's the difference. It's very good competition.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of great drafters over here. You see a lot of the same players at other sites, but some of the best I've seen are consistently over here playing because of the odds.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's another reason why actually I like playing, because I learned a lot from playing in these leagues. I like to study boards. So, I mean, I look at what people do, you know what I'm saying, and try to get a better understanding of what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? But the FFWC, like I said, if you've never played in it and you're looking for a high stakes, recommend it. I 100% recommend it. 100%.
Well, thanks for the recommendation. Let's hop into your draft philosophy and maybe construction-wise.
Sure. What
is your typical, I should say, I know you said that you're malleable and you like to adjust based upon the room, but if you were doing one draft and you're going in with a plan, and we understand everyone has a plan to get punched in the face, but you're going in with a plan, is that plan hero running back, zero running back? Is it robust running back? Are you an early quarterback guy, early tight end guy? Kind of walk me through your typical construction.
Try to give away my secrets now. Well, you see, it goes back to what I said earlier. When I go into a draft, I try not to lock myself down into any particular style because, like I said, you don't know what the board's going to give you. Sometimes it gives you something way like you were. Okay, I did a draft a few days ago, and Mixon fell to me at 2.8. Like that's, he never goes that low. So it's like I had to jump on that. I wasn't expecting to go that route, but it happened. You know what I'm saying? So I adjusted to what I was going to do because I was going to do the hero running back. McCaffrey had fallen to me. So I figured, okay, now I'm just going to load up on receivers. But now I'm like, wait a minute, how do you pass up on Mixon now? You know what I'm saying? And the guy at 2.8, I mean, that's value at that point.
And how many Mixon McCaffrey teams are in tournament? Probably not many.
That's the other thing. That how many Mixon McCaffrey teams are there going to be? Because it's a rare thing. You're not going to see that too often, hopefully. But the thing is, like, I do have a style that I like to do. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you've seen my drafts, but wide receivers are, a thing I love. One of my very first drafts when I started my very beginnings, because I remembered when I was trying to learn this game, and everybody was taking running backs. And I'm just looking at the numbers, and I'm just like, why doesn't anybody take the receivers? I'm like, these guys are producing just as much as the running backs and at a better clip. And so I had the 12th pick, and my first two picks, I had 12, 13. I took Andre Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald. You know what I'm saying? Followed by Wes Walker and then Ray Rice. This was back in 2009-10 when Rice broke out. Yeah. So that's the team that ended up finishing 5th overall. But it clicked in me. I'm like, wait a minute. That's a strategy that works. So I kind of carried that on through the years. And I'm like, it's funny now you see everybody doing that. I'm like, dude, I've been doing that. You guys have been playing checkers, dude. I've been playing chess for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And now everybody's catching up. I swear to God, if I could show you my original draft boards and you see how I drafted then, you would be like, holy crap, you were ahead of the game. I was, because I looked at the numbers. That's what I did. I looked at the numbers, I crunched them, and it just made sense to me. So I had a lot of squads that were built that way. So anyways, but I mean, I like my receivers, but it really depends on the format and what I'm drafting and where I'm drafting. QBs, it depends on the value. I have spots for everybody where I like them. You know what I'm saying? So if, I tend to wait. I like to wait. I think, waiting is a smart thing to do. But sometimes, if an Allen falls to you in the 6th, mid-6th, like you got the other day, I was hoping he would kind of swing back down to me, but that's okay. That's another story. But, something like that, I may pull the trigger on something like that because 6th round is not that bad. You know what I'm saying? The talent in the 6th round starts to get a little bit tricky. So why not take a quarterback that can put up 400 points?
I'm not a big quarterback early guy, but when I can get a half round of value on, the number one quarterback, I'm going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where you have to go against what you believe. You know what I'm saying? Tight ends, it really depends on what's there. If it depends on how my draft is going, whether I'm going receiver heavy or if I've gone running back heavy and what I need, I can punt on tight end because once you get past a certain point, they're all the same. You know what I'm saying? In 2016 when I won, I picked up my tight end in free agency, Charles Clay, who will always be I'll bow down to him because he just blew up for like 60 points the last 3 weeks of that season. Oh yeah, he was a monster. I loved him, dude. But I mean, that team was a total waiver wire win anyways, because I literally had one receiver left from my original draft on that squad. Everybody else was picked up in free agency. So I mean, that explains, it was total waiver wire win. So I mean, as far as my construction, it just depends on how my flow is going, because sometimes I'll go earlier with a tight end if the right one's there. If I'm sitting there in the 7th, 8th round and Schultz is still sitting there, I mean, you got to take him. He's going to be better than anything else you're going to draft at that point. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on the value and where we're at.
Okay, give me 3 players that you're targeting in drafts. So let's focus on the mid rounds, 9 through 12.
Sheesh. Again, it harps back to where I'm at with my first 8 picks, that 9 through 12. I mean, I don't want to give too many names up because I'm already losing all my sleepers anyway. So
Just give me one sleeper then.
one sleeper. I mean, a guy around that area, maybe Algiers, who could be maybe not early, but as the season goes on, he could be the money weeks. He could be a big player. I mean, Atlanta's not going to play a veteran dude. You got to play the young guys. You got to see what you got. He could be somebody. I'm just trying to think of guys right now too. Tolbert. He was falling into that range. Now he's kind of moving up.
Now he's blasting off.
Now he's blasting him up. There's a few guys that were there in that range that I was grabbing. Now they're not there no more. Sky Moore was another one that was around that 9 to 12. Now forget it. He's not. Treylon Burks, who was in that 8, 9, 10 range for a little while. Now he's gone.
Discount's gone.
For me, what I try to look for is younger guys that have high ceiling potential. And maybe it's not early, but at some point during the season, they'll have it. That's what I try to look for in those mid rounds. But it's really depends on how my draft is flowing.
Okay, last question. What's the number one piece of advice that you can give players who are looking to dip their toes into the high stakes fantasy football world?
Learn the format. Learn the format. Understand that if this is your first time going in, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to, take some lumps. You could have some beginner's luck. It happens. But learn your format. Don't draft 2 quarterbacks in the first 10 rounds. Don't take 2 defenses. Don't take 2 kickers. All right. If you take more than 2 tight ends, you suck. And if you draft 4 running backs in a row, just give me your money now because you just donated. What else can I think of? That's pretty. Don't draft a quarterback in the first 3 rounds. You don't take a defense in round 10. How about that? Seriously, I see this happen, and I want to throw my computer sometimes. And the thing is, it's helping me out because this guy's screwing up his team. But it's just like, why would you do that? You're taking a 150-point defense when there's 15 more of them sitting there. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is a defense going to do for you in round 10?
Sometimes you do see some things that amaze you. As a player myself, I'm like, okay, great, thanks for being the rake, right? And but if you're new and we're trying to help those players who are new, don't want to be doing those kind of things because it's very suboptimal. Number 1, 2, it's an uphill battle ever since you draft that player in that round. Oh yeah, definitely.
The thing is, I probably shouldn't say anything, but I'm a vocal guy. I talk a lot of smack on these boards, so I mean, I'm sure people know that. If my name is there. If it's not there, then they don't know. I'm just talking shit no matter what. But yeah, it's like yesterday, someone took James Robinson in round 8, and then they took the Washington running back Robinson in round 10. I'm just like, what? These guys are like 11, 12, 13, 14th round picks. What are you doing? Like, I see this stuff, and I'm like, what are you doing? I don't know, whatever.
Be thankful you're in the room. Just be thankful you're in that room.
I ended up with a hell of a team, so I'm not too disappointed. So.
Well, everybody, speaking with Evangelos Lilas, you can find him on Twitter at 76AngeloL. Angelo, any closing comments before we finish the show tonight?
I'm gonna whoop all your asses. That's all I gotta say.
I'm clipping that. So then now next thing I can show you all the leagues I win, I'm gonna post it to you.
Hey, bring it on, baby. Bring it on. I love it.
Well, thanks for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. I'm enjoying these new segments, getting to know all the players myself, putting a face to the name that I get to see you inside the draft rooms. Tune in next week, everybody. I have somebody who most of you might be familiar with. Chad Schroeder will be on the podcast on the 9th. We're going to be talking a little bit more about Bankroll and building teams. That one will be a little bit longer as we get into some higher level strategy items as well. So tune in next week for Chad Schroeder as he joins the show. Angelo, again, thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all here later. Good night.